This Subway Series was very emotional over the weekend. There was a lot of energy in Yankee Stadium. The Yankees were the winners. The Mets were the losers. Now let's get to Juan Soto. The honeymoon is over.
Officially?
It is officially over because whether it was naively or it's because we really felt it, most Met fans looked at this weekend as the weekend Juan Soto became a New York Met. The weekend where he'd have fun, the weekend where he'd mash, the weekend where he'd make Yankee fans cry, and none of it happened. He wasn't productive offensively, continues to struggle with runners in scoring position, and then to make matters worse, he moped his way all over the field for 3 days. And as we sit here on a Monday afternoon, I tell you this, and I tell Juan Soto this. I'm not giving up on you. I'm not fully panicking. But now's the time to wake the F up.
Right.
Because it didn't happen at Yankee Stadium. This fantasy that all of us had that, he's going to see the Yankee fans, and that's going to motivate him, and he's going to get red hot. None of it happened. And so I think I speak for many when I say, Juan, I'm thrilled you're a Met. I'm thrilled you decided to come here. I'm thrilled you took Steve Cohen's beautiful money. But now the honeymoon is over. It's time to produce the way we expect you to produce.
Yeah, it's about being locked in for Juan Soto. And I wonder, and we're starting to hear this stuff. I know Boomer talked about it this morning. The validity of it, we don't know, but it is what it is. But it's becoming the talking point around Juan Soto. And that's all the other stuff, not the baseball stuff. But the private jet and the family, whatever it's called, that is the suite and all these accommodations that he get. Obviously, the money's a big deal. But for me, it feels like for Juan Soto, the main thing isn't the main thing. And that is being Juan Soto. That is being great. All that other stuff doesn't matter. And it shouldn't be talked about. All the platitudes or the accolade, nothing matters other than being a great baseball player. And I feel like somewhere along the way, that got lost with Juan Soto, and he's struggling to find it again. And as soon as he gets baseball being number one again, he'll be Juan Soto again. So I don't think you should be worried about it, but it's just alarming that it's taken this long. I mean, we're middle of May now, and it still doesn't feel like he's anywhere close to having those consistent days that he had a year ago.
And that's what it comes down to. It's production. Like, a lot is being made of his lack of smiles, his lack of Soto shuffles. Bob Klapisch wrote an article this morning in which he says, quote, "There are troubling signs for the Mets hierarchy. I'm told they're concerned about Soto's lack of enthusiasm for his new team."
But did he have it last year with the Yankees?
He did, but here's the difference. And this is why lack of enthusiasm for his new team. Smiling when he sees Aaron Boone. Smiling last year, not smiling this year. Shuffling last year, not shuffling this year. To me, here's the biggest difference. Last year, when he began the year with the Yankees, he produced like a house on fire.
Right.
And I think that his enthusiasm is based on his performance.
Right.
He isn't hitting this
he
year.
hit 41 home runs a year ago. I mean, it was a career high or a season high for him. 41 home runs. You're walking around the bases a lot of times, having reasons to celebrate with your teammates.
And having a swagger.
Because you hit 41 freaking home runs. And so that Juan Soto isn't here, right? That Juan Soto isn't producing. And so if I'm the highest paid player by a lot, especially in real money, not deferred money, real money in Major League Baseball, even if you say that it's not an issue, you feel that, man. Like, you know what the expectation is for you. And you know your teammates know what that expectation is. And when you're not doing it, how can you smile, right? How can you be all excited about, I don't know, it just looks like you're happy for the money and not happy for production. And so until he starts producing, you're not going to see Juan Soto smile.
And that's what I think it is, Tiki, because I know there are a lot of Met fans, and this was fan fiction for a while, and now it's seeping into, well, is it real?
Yeah.
And that's the fan fiction of he regrets his decision. He doesn't want to be a Met. He doesn't like being there.
I promise
he misses the Yankees and all that.
I promise you he does not regret his decision.
Because when he goes and checks his bank account every 2 weeks?
Because this generation, the next one, and probably the next one, and probably even the one after that are fine.
Right, but that would have been the case if he took the Yankee money too, in fairness.
It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, you are fine.
Yes, I think, here's my theory, and I had this theory 2 years ago. Do you guys remember when the Mets sucked 2 years ago? And the talk around this town was, well, why? Is the locker room a problem? Does Pete Alonso hate Francisco Lindor? Remember that?
Yes.
And when I would scream
Jeff
on
McNeil stuff.
Everybody hated each other. It was the worst locker room ever. And what I would scream on the radio or on the Rico is, no, they just suck. And we're looking for reasons on why.
Right.
When it just may be that they suck.
Right.
I look at the Soto struggles the same way. He's not smiling. He's not shuffling. He's not doing cool handshakes because he's not hitting right now.
He's average right now.
Yes, he is not what he's normally at. And so I don't believe the fan fiction, which has now creeped into Bob Clappish's reporting, which is he's not happy. He's got buyer's remorse. He doesn't like the room. He misses Jazz Chisholm. He misses Aaron Judge. To me, my novice eyes tell me he is a player frustrated by his lack of performance. And guess what, Juan? If you're frustrated by your lack of performance, I'll raise my hand and say, me too, bro. All of us are.
Yeah, I don't think the things that he's saying, that these reports are saying, aren't wrong. I think the reasoning is wrong. Like the correlation is not correct. He's not happy because he misses the Yankees. No, he's not happy because he's not playing well right now. Does he miss the Yankees? I don't know. He's got new teammates. It takes some time to learn new teammates. And so, like, you can report things and throw a little bit of opinion on the side of it, and it makes it feel like he hates being a Met.
Right.
And that's not, I think, what's happening. I think being an elite player, you want to be an elite player. Right? There's a pride, like there's an ego that comes with being good and knowing it. And then when you don't produce, it's hard to make yourself be good, like be all right with that.
But you know what makes you look bad? Right now, believe it or not, Met fans, because this may be tough to imagine, the Mets are tied for having the best record in the National League. They are. They're only a half game of the Phillies in the NL East, I get it.
Right.
But they have the same record as the LA Dodgers. They're a game ahead of the Padres. They're 29-18. And yes, they have a better record than the New York Yankees. There is only one team in Major League Baseball with a clear better record than the Mets, and it's the Detroit Tigers. So what I would say to Juan Soto, if you're listening on your way up to Boston, is wouldn't that make you happy? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that make you want to shuffle? Wouldn't that give you your kind of pizzazz? The team is winning. And what I heard from you and what I heard from Scott Boras was that's what it's all about. It's all about winning. And despite you being average to below average for the expectations we have for you, they're 11 games above 500.
True. But here's what's, I think, now starting to happen. For a lot of this early part of the season, we've been saying at some point the team is going to come to a mean or come off the high that they've been on.
Yes.
Right? They started off ridiculously hot. And they were doing it without Juan Soto being elite.
Right.
Like, he was just average, but they were still winning. Pitching was great. Starting pitching is still great. But eventually Juan Soto is going to have to pick up some of that slack when everything else kind of comes back to earth. Well, over the last 17 games, really 22 games, they're 500.
Yeah, 11-11 in their last 22.
They're very average. And this is that moment meaning the last 2-3 weeks, where Juan Soto needed to start stepping forward
100%.
and being elite, right? Because when everybody else starts to be average, you can't also be average.
And you hit it right on the head because the Met offense have gone limp. They went limp against the Yankees. They were even limp against the Pirates. They overcame it by winning 2 out of 3. Mm-hmm. And you know who else has gone limp? He's getting a lot of crap for his bad throw last night, and he deserves it because Pete Alonso, his words not mine, cost the Mets the game last night. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And he's right. That was a Lucas Duda-ian throw, and it cost the Mets the game. But they also can't hit. And since May 6th, only an 11-game sample size, Pete Alonso's hitting a 159. Pete Alonso is cooled off. Now, that's normal. That happens. That's baseball, Susan. But you know what also has to happen? And you just hit on it, Tiki. This is when Juan Soto needs to heat up. Because for the first month of the season, he was a passenger in the car. Mm-hmm. Now he needs to drive. And this shouldn't be a surprise because, yes, a lot of guys have come here and they've struggled. Sometimes their entire first season has been a struggle. Well, here's what I'm telling you on May 19th. He's lucky they're in Boston. Because if you thought there were a trickle of booze in the middle of April, the Met fan is now saying, look, Juan, we're thrilled you're here.
Yeah.
We're happy you signed with the Mets. Now you got to produce. And while I've never been a booer, Tiki, I understand it now more than ever. Because he's got to produce. And this series against the Yankees, to a T, every Met fan lined up to say, this is where he breaks out.
Yeah, of course.
Everyone.
Well,
You did it, Tommy.
Sense.
Sal did it. We all did it.
It made sense. He's not traveling. He's at home. He's very familiar with Yankee Stadium and its short porch, which Cody Bellinger took advantage of, and Juan Soto did not. Right? He knew everything. Now, maybe the emotion of it overwhelmed him a little bit, but I doubt it. He's Juan Soto. Right, he's been in humongous moments. He was 20 years old when he won a world championship with the Nationals, so he knows what it takes to be elite when the time matters. The time mattered this past weekend, and it was.
It was the same crap is really what it was. Now, were there some positives from Juan Soto? Did he play a good right field? Yeah. He made a really good play off the right field fence on a double to hold a runner from scoring.
Right.
He made that nice running catch last night. He also stole a base that directly led to a run. So it was actually the opposite of everything we thought about Juan Soto. Good base running, good defense, no bat, right? It's the opposite.
Right, one hit right in this series.
But he's paid to be impactful, and he hasn't been impactful. And I don't know if the crowd got to him. I don't know if that's really what happened. The sign that it may have gotten to him is the fact that last night he was supposed to be the dude with the microphone during the third inning, and 45 minutes before the game, according to Carl Ravitch, he said, I don't want to do it.
Now, how would that... He speaks English.
Yeah.
But he also uses a translator at times, right?
I've only seen him speak English with reporters. I haven't seen him with a translator.
So
no.
in an in-game... I'm just trying to think how this would have worked. In an in-game action... And he's trying to focus. He's also now translating in his head what's being asked of him and then the answer so that it sounds right. I just think that was a bad idea from jump.
Well, the bad idea was Juan Soto knows if you're mic'd up in right field, all they're going to ask you about are the Yankees, their fans, and Aaron Judge.
And the guys booing behind you now.
And you know what?
Or turning their back on you.
And by Sunday, you're sick of it. And I understand that. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm a Met fan, so I know a lot of Yankee fans wanted to hear Juan Soto's answers every day to being booed, every single day. What'd you think of this? What'd you think of that? I only speak as a Met fan. I'm done with it after Friday. I don't care anymore. You know what I want to know from Juan Soto? How come you're hitting 130 with runners in scoring position? That's what I want to know. And so I get why Juan Soto changed his mind for not wearing the microphone. There's also conflicting reports. Do you have the Carl Ravitch audio, Tommy? This is from last night's game in which Carl Ravitch needed to tell the people, hey, we were supposed to have Juan Soto. He was supposed to broadcast. He was supposed to be in right field. And unfortunately, he's not. Now, Bob Klapisch said it happened minutes before the game. As according to Bob Klapisch, he changed his mind, quote, minutes before the game, and Soto told Met officials he was tired of answering questions about the Yankees captain Aaron Judge and explaining why he chose the New York Mets.
God, are we still asking that question?
I guess so.
I mean, seriously, we're 2 months into the season. We're still asking that question?
That was...
Maybe the relationship with Aaron Judge matters, but why he chose the Mets over the Yankees? Come on, dude. Or any other team, Boston, L.A., etc., that he could have chosen. Who cares?
Here's what Carl Ravitch said on the broadcast. Hopefully this is the right clip. I cut a lot of things from last night's game.
Yeah, you can ask Brandon Nimmo a question using that hashtag AskSNB. Juan Soto was going to wear the mic, but about 45 minutes before the game apparently changed his mind, so Nimmo steps in, and he will wear the microphone tonight.
So, you want to say that's little. He said 45 minutes before the game. Bob Klapisch is saying minutes before the game.
Yeah, 45 minutes is a long time.
There's a big difference. I'm not mad about him changing his mind because I think
I don't even care about that.
No, but that's a sign of, hey, I'm sick and tired of hearing about this.
Yeah.
So when we try to figure out what was he thinking about the weekend, there's a chance that Sunday he's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
No, I hear you.
I don't want to sit here talking about this
Sunday,
anymore.
It's too late. And Nimmo did a great job, by the way. They lauded him. He's going to have any job he wants. They said afterwards. I mean, the broadcast was all right.
Yeah, it was all right.
The only thing there's one thing that really got under my craw.
Go ahead.
One thing.
Go ahead.
Austin Wells got drilled in the place you don't want to get drilled.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
And they showed that replay at least 4 times and said nothing.
Why would they not refer to the jewels?
They kept showing it and said nothing. A little like, hey kids, this is why you wear your cups. that would have sufficed. It would have told the entire story without saying anything. They said nothing.
You know what's funny?
You can't grab there.
It was a moment for like, levity and like a really tense game, and they just missed it.
So that's what
Completely-
bothered you?
It bothered me so bad.
You know, it's funny. That's probably a small thing.
Because every dude's like, dude, he just got drilled into you know what?
No,
and they said nothing.
And days earlier, Luis Torrens got drilled into you know what? And
Yes.
SNY talked about it.
Exactly.
It's funny that annoyed you. I have one thing from the game that annoyed me. This one I'm pretty sure I sent to you, Tommy. This was the Brandon Nimmo question, okay? This is a small, tiny thing that bothered me, all right?
Okay.
Brandon Nimmo, you're about to hear this, and you got to listen carefully. It's a small thing that bothered me. Brandon Nimmo casually mentions that his wife gave birth to a daughter. Eduardo Perez's follow-up pissed me off. Take a listen.
I had my daughter in November, and now I was like, you know what, I gotta look like a dad a little bit, so get the baby face out for a little bit.
How old is she now?
She is just over 6 months. Come on, baby. Make that play. She's just over.
How old is she now? He just said she was born in November. What, you can't do the math yourself, Eduardo? That one annoyed me. We all have our things, right?
It's all little things, too. Nothing to do with, like, the actual broadcast or how they called a pitch or a strike or whatever, criticizing the umpire or the manager or Juan Soto, whatever. It's just, like, the little stuff.
Yeah, Tiki's annoyed about not mentioning balls. I'm annoyed by Eduardo Perez not doing the math on his own. But what we all should be annoyed about, not Yankee fans, you guys should be happy, but us as Met fans, is that Juan Soto had a chance this weekend to make his mark, and he did nothing.